Pirates in Pyjamas is smiling from ear to ear because they just have come hot off of a 3-0 here in round 7. Now looking towards round 8 and making sure that happens again on their next opponent of Strix. So, Ray, when we talk about Pirates in Pyjamas, right, we've given them a lot of praise. We've given them a lot of the spotlight. Now we have to talk a little bit about what's been going on with Strix here. We just saw that they had an unfortunate 3-0 loss with 0-3 Splash. Now, when they look at Pirates in Pyjamas, who's sort of been kind of another Titan in contenders so far, Strix still has their work cut out for them.
Yeah, definitely a tough week or a tough day for Strix, as they have two very, very strong opponents to go after. But Strix, to me, has been an enigma, a confusion. They've been very up and down. They have very impressive wins. I'm looking at my sheet right now. They have beaten Wisp, one of the big dogs. They have beaten Timeless, one of the big dogs. But then I look at their losses. They lost to Rift, which, you know, they have a really strong roster, but, you know, they're kind of struggling this season. Good Boys, middle of the pack, and they lost to Saints. Good team. So they've been very up and down. They've lost to some teams that make you question things, but they beat some teams that you're like, oh wow, extremely impressive. So which Strix are we going to see come into the lobby against Pirates in Pyjamas?
Yeah, those are the really things that make you wonder what exactly is going to happen here. Of course, we have the amazing season history. Big claps to production for making this an actual possibility. It looks really, really great. So you can see just where Strix has faltered and where they've been able to find great success. Same thing here for Pirates in Pyjamas, an almost clean record except for that 2-3 against Afterlife. And so, looking at this piece of the puzzle, right, Pirates in Pyjamas has actually been having a really good season, all things considered, beating out the map differential of 0-3 Splash, who, even though they've been undefeated, it's either been 3-0s or it's been 5 map bangers. So Strix, kind of in that same position, but they tend to go in the direction of 5 mappers, or they just don't quite have the sustainability to go through ending up in 0-3s.
Just to go on a little bit of a tangent, Sam, I am definitely circling next week, final game in the rotation, 0-3 Splash versus Pirates in Pyjamas. That could ultimately decide who's the 1 seed heading into the playoffs. So I'm just like, ooh, that is an interesting one that we'll be coming up on. But let's focus our attention back on this game. Strix, let's go ahead and pull up their roster while we're talking more about them, because I think their roster is extremely interesting. So they have a lot of Korean talent who are playing on ping. Shadow and Taejong, both rookies to the NA contenders scene, but they have been absolutely dominating on their roles. And then obviously they have the EU mainstay tank Crandop coming into the mix as well. And Rymazing has always just been a staple DPS in the NA contenders scene. So they have so much talent on their team, which confuses why they're so up and down. But I think, you know, maybe that ping could be affecting things at the end of the day. I mean, sometimes I've talked with coaches and stuff, and basically NA ping to EU, that's negligible. They pretty much deal with that all the time. But Korean ping can be a whole different story.
Yeah, you're basically on the other side of the world, right? It becomes so much more difficult to deal with that ping, where negligible in one with EU, completely and totally a different story with another. Now, let's go ahead and talk about our very first map, which is going to be Ilios. And for both of these teams, obviously amazing at the Winston compositions, and that is what we're going to be seeing a lot of with here on Ilios. How well are we going to get that Winston style composition, which funnily enough, we didn't see very much of in our previous matchup here when the Pirates in Pyjamas channel really only got it on the one map of Numbani. So Ilios could be a really great way to see how the two teams are going to play this very popular meta composition.
And one thing to watch out for is Ilios opens the door to play those echoes, especially on Well and Lighthouse, as we see Well as the opening pick. Taejong and Scissors have both proven themselves to be very dominating echoes in the tier 2 scene. So I'd be very excited to see if we're going to see those players match up against each other. But we've seen here, when it comes to this map specifically, If you play the variant where you play the Sombra instead, if you can't find those picks fast enough in the fight, it just ends up being a hindrance to your team. As we see, Strix not even going to bother with the Echo version of this composition at all. They're going to have Taejong starting on that Sim to TP out, and they will be going Tracer. For Pirates and Pyjamas, they're taking a much different approach to Well that you don't see very often. They're going with the Ramatra Brawl and having this Winston Killer, which is Scissors on this Reaper. So Krandop's going to have to be extremely careful about how he positions himself and making sure to avoid this Reaper at all costs.
Absolutely, Krandop. It's going to be a very tricky position for them to be in, and already Scissors is finding their target. They want to get that Winston quick and off the field. Don't let him dive into the back line. Taejong, however, on top of this high ground, looking down onto the peons below, sees him inside of the gazebo, now over towards the point itself. Get back over to your tank, give them a little bit of peel before you turn your attention over and work with Rymazing to hack, find, and eliminate. But of course, Krandop is in this rough position where they have to watch out for the Reaper right into the face of Scissors and already try to back out as quick as they can. A beautiful anti-nade is going to put things into the ground, but Pirates and Pyjamas still coming up big with some picks of their own and taking that first capture of the point.
And that was beautiful synergy coming out again from Pirates and Pyjamas. Knew Krandop had used that jump, knew he was stuck there, and they all coalesced onto him and just obliterated him back to spawn. And that's what we're gonna have to see if you're gonna play this Ramatra style of composition, is baiting those Winston cooldowns and punishing him.
All right, that got a little scary for Taejong. The recall to pull them out. Chronic is all really about getting rid of Krandop as quick as you can and collapsing onto them, really stopping them from doing anything here. The bubble does go down, but they're on the other side of the point. They really can't get onto their raid to even fight anything. You've seen Krandop struggling to do, well, something. Oh, and now we have the EMP. Caught two inside of it. Krandop and Kurova. Pirates and Pyjamas is just like a swarm of locusts that descends upon whatever target is, needs to die.
And they're so proactive with their ultimate uses. Once they have it, they are looking to put themselves in the position to capitalize on them. As Rymazing comes back into this next fight, he's been kind of the leader for this team. So I'm looking at him with this EMP in his back pocket to be able to put his team and set them up for success with this good EMP.
Yep, needs to do what Chronic just did for Pirates and Pyjamas now on the side of Strix, but Rymazing not quite in the position to actually make that happen just yet. You see, they're looking at Pirates and Pyjamas, wanting to actually get there. Now the EMP goes off, but Taejong is gonna fall. We do see Strider hit with the anti-nade, but Zolik is giving that overhealing in the form of that sound barrier. A lot to chew through here for Strix. It is just way too much, way too just innumerable amounts for them to actually fight against. Strix just, they can't even get to the point.
As that EMP was beautiful, but they did not have the follow-up, and Taejong going down early in that fight.
Really?
And that is just a disrespectful Death Blossom. Finds Kurova with 99% on the clock. It is looking really bad for Strix.
It really, really is. And look at Krandop inside of the Primal Rage, but already have help. You've lost your Ana, who needs to get back quick as they can, and Scissors is still tearing through your support lineup. All of the damage is going to be permanent. Taejong lands the stick onto Strider, who's still staying strong, still trying to fight it out, but that massive amount of damage that came forth almost put them into the ground. Strider was able to get into Nemesis just in time, still duking it out, still fighting it out. Kurova in their dying gasp of giving Krandop that nano boost. But really, how much more can you expect here from Strix? That EMP has put Krandop down to the ground, and Pirates and Pyjamas wanting to put forth a statement 100-0 on round one.
And that constant pressure from Scissors on the Reaper, as well as the constant, almost like you're scared of the hack, like the threat of it, is not allowing Taejong to get into the backline and put the pressure onto the Moira Lucio like you would want. And even if you could, Moira Lucio are so mobile and have the ability to just get out of there and avoid the Tracer. It is making Taejong's job that much more difficult, as Pirates and Pyjamas are just playing as a 5-man unit and saying, you know what? You're not going to be able to kill us. We're going to wait for one of you guys to get out of position, and we are going to kill you for it. As we're not seeing any swaps from either of these teams. So, again, Strix has to find some sort of answer, and hopefully it's taking this position around the Mega Health Pack.
Yeah, hopefully. It's gonna have to be something like that. Pirates in Pajamas, though, pressing the W key and just pushing themselves forward. Crandop caught inside of the hack, but still in a pretty decent position for themselves to push forward and maybe be able to gain some ground for Strix, which they so desperately need, but is continuously being denied. If you look at the kill feed, though, Rymazing is going to come up against their mirror matchup of Chronic, the Victor, and so that might be just good enough here for Strix to find something. No need to worry about the Sombra. Crandop could potentially stay in there for a little bit longer and take out the pain point of Scissors until Strider decides, hey, let's go to the back line, maybe even take a small nap to go along with it. And indeed so, without that Sombra, Pirates in Pajamas is finding so much more success.
But the issue, Sam, is in this meantime when Strix was actually finding picks there, Pirates in the Pajamas has been in complete control of this point the entire time. So you're just, now you got to commit EMP to try and win this fight, and they just don't get anything.
Strider is just bullying them on the two supports right in front of the point. Unfortunately, they got a little too overzealous and it's fallen, but it still seems like the rest of Pirates in Pajamas is doing a phenomenal job at staying alive regardless. They realize that Scissors has that Death Blossom, and Scissors actually went ahead and popped it in a moment of what could only be described as desperation or potentially maybe even a misclick, Ray.
Yeah, it's very uncharacteristic to see that coming out of Pirates in Pajamas. They've been very smart about knowing, okay, we did what we needed to do. Let's just get out and reset. And to commit that Death Blossom is very unfortunate. And now they're going to have, if you're Strix, this rally to be able to sustain. Crandop will get this Primal Rage online, but they're going to have to be careful. They have both an EMP and an Annihilation that Pajamas can come in and use.
Oh, a 4-man anti-nade has been hit onto Pirates in Pajamas, but they're just rotating around into the back line. Scissors is dipping dangerously low, and Crandop needs to go onto the high ground. What does that mean? Pirates in Pajamas is just gonna go straight forward. They use so much here, and we gotta give big props to Korova. These anti-nades, Ray, are saving the day for Strix. Pirates in Pajamas just had no way to be able to survive throughout all of that damage, and they used 3 ultimates.
Legitimately, Sam, that is the best case scenario Strix could have asked for. Basically, force out every single ultimate of Pirates and limit what you use. All they used was the rally. Oh, Taejong, you cannot allow that to happen, especially Chronic going to be able to come in with this EMP.
Oh, Crandop, you're dipping low, hit with the hack. Now we have Rymazing. Oh, you see, they're just waiting for an opportunity, but while you're waiting for these opportunities to happen, your entire support line is being bullied. That's where Crandop is going to come in and try to turn things on its head, regrouping with the rest of the team. Zolik tried to, but just couldn't quite make it there. Pirates in Pajamas in some pretty hot water right now, Ray. They're trying. They're trying.
But they commit the pulse bomb. Scissors has found 2, and I mean, you go down, but this gives an opportunity for Pirates. If they regroup quick enough, they'll be able to come back, especially with an EMP, and make something happen. But Rymazing has 1 to be able to come in with. But we've seen so far on this map that Chronic has had the better end of the EMP exchange.
That they have Rymazing. Taejong caught inside of the hack, now needs to recall. An EMP has come in from Rymazing, and where it needed to find value, Ray, it's found value and then some. Might even be called great value. As a matter of fact, the pulse bomb not able to get anything out of it, but it's still creating chaos in the midst of Z-Man and Zolik, and no one able to touch. Strix taking round 2, 100-66.
Nice comeback coming from Strix, and again, it was on the back of Korova being able to land those anti-nades. It was ridiculous. And talking a little bit more about Korova, the man is literally playing on a broken arm, Sam. It is ridiculous, the plays he is making for his team, despite the injuries he's trying to heal from.
All I know, Ray, is if that I were in Korova's position, I would be crying every second. But no, they're landing the sickest of anti-nades, actually forcing Pirates in Pajamas to completely retool their composition just based off of that fact that Korova is doing this all with a broken arm. Nothing short of impressive for this player.
As, again, we're going to see Pirates take a whole different approach. They are going to have Scissors go over to this Echo. They're going to have Chronic play the Ashe. So them maintaining control of this high ground is of the utmost important for Pirates.
It really is. That high ground position lets Ashe on this, or Chronic on this Ashe rather, to be able to find so much value. But once Strix gets inside of the actual lighthouse itself, Strider just really had nowhere to go. Immediately melted down, taken out, and now Scissors is just feeling the full fury of Kurova at their broken arm.
And I think the big issue is outside of Scissors, I mean, you don't have a Tracer, you don't have a Sombra. Where is your pressure to get onto these supports? I mean, Scissors has it, but it is far in between what we've seen. So it's all on Scissors needing to make something happen here, as Chronic is just getting bullied on this high ground.
Yeah, it actually makes Zolik have to come forth to push Krandop away from them. But the way that Strix is playing right now, the dominance that we saw from Pirates and Pyjamas on that first round of Well has just been completely taken away from them. Strix has been doing crazy amounts of effort on this Winston style composition, and a lot of that could be given towards how they're playing effectively inside of this lighthouse itself and the way that Strix collapses. And I mean, look at that. Strider is trying to fight off against Hyun, but it's just not happening. Especially you give them the nano boost, they gotta get away, but they just can't.
Yeah, as Kurova and Hyun can just do whatever they want as a big stick from Taejong, showing that rookie Tracer supremacy. I mean, these supports are just uninhibited. They can do whatever they want. I mean, they tried to go after Hyun, but the nano came in for Kurova. They're just unable to find anything. And now Rymazing has this EMP to be able to use and run final fight territory for Pirates.
Taejong hiding out in there, immediately goes in and rips the head off of Z-Man. Now Chronic as well. I mean, Chronic got that first pick onto Rymazing, but there's just nothing that Pirates and Pyjamas can do. They're stuck at their spawn rate.
That they are, and we are hitting up to 99%, and I think that might be it. I mean, they're going to have a touch, but it is looking all but futile as Strider tries and tries with this Primal Rage.
Yeah, they're trying with the Primal Rage as best they can, but you saw that they got slept there. Chronic needs to use the Bob. Anything that they can find, and Strider, Chronic, they're making it happen. Strider has fallen. It's up to the rest of Pirates and Pyjamas to find the picks that they need to get the kills. And oh my God, Taejong, what have you just done here? A double pulse bomb kill. It may have happened, but it's just not going to be good enough. Pirates and Pyjamas are going to take that point back. Now we're sitting 99 to 10%, a long march.
As we see Chronic going over to the Tracer now, but that cost absolutely everything you had if you're Pirates and Pyjamas. You needed it. It was desperation. But Kurova is so close to this nano, that could just be the ceiling of the deal for this map.
Absolutely, and we've seen just how well Kurova is able to use that nano boost. Krandop sees a lone Zolik. They have to just get on top of that. But of course, Z-Man is there, ready to throw down the anti-nade, kind of baiting in Krandop to get inside of it. But with the way that this is working, you control the support line of Pirates and Pyjamas, and you see just how much Strider is struggling right now to stay alive. We rotate back over. Krandop has been given the nano boost. Zolik is down on the ground, can't get the healing from Z-Man, and is gonna fall at the hands of Rymazing. Back up onto the high ground. Scissors is just under so much pressure. Strix, they may have lost the point, they may have fallen for just a moment here, but the recovery from this team has been unreal. Pirates and Pyjamas doing whatever they can, but whatever is slowly going away from them. Strider, no more health, no more HP. Overtime ticks away, and Strix, where things were looking so dangerous for them on that first round, Ray have come back to take Ilios 2-1.
Sam, do you remember what was the question I asked at the beginning before we got into the first map?
What was that question?
I said, what Strix are we going to get in this lobby today?
Exactly.
And it seems like it is the Strix who took down the Timelesses of the world, the Wisps of the world. So if you're Pirates and Pyjamas, they are a team to be feared, and they are threatening that 6-1 record as they take a 1-0 series lead. They have come to play after dropping that 3-0 match to 0-3 Splash.
Absolutely. We sang a lot of the praises so far on what Kurova was able to do with their Ana on that support line. But let's turn our attention over to Krandop as well. I mean, the potential isolation that they're able to do, right? Getting into the face of the support lines, putting them in awkward position where Pirates in Pajamas can't get any healing, relying on the small med pack that's sitting on the actual point itself, was just sheer brilliance. And then more so in how they're able to sort of dictate the pace of the game. Crandup really made that Winston work for them in ways that I don't think we saw very much of right on that sub map. But then once we got onto Ruins, once Korova was able to come online a little bit more, maybe stretch out the broken arm, it was so much, it was just a different game for Strix, Crandop, everyone involved. It was an amazing turnaround.
Yeah, Taejong and Korova, big reasons why that was a big turnaround for Strix. Those anti-nades plus the pressure Taejong was then able to start applying. I mean, just think of Will as like a small little warm-up map. Then Taejong really got going. So if you're Pirates in Pajamas, you got to pick a map that's going to favor you going forward. From what I've seen in the different streams that we've been watching because of the Timeless Broadcast project, if I remember correctly, I do think Pirates likes Midtown. I don't remember if there's anything else. I do recollect them playing a lot of Midtown, but then again, they win a lot of their first maps, so maybe they're just brought to Midtown a lot. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to pick if we have that in.
Right.
And I'm right. We are going to
good
Midtown.
news. Yeah, we're going to Midtown. So this actually does make sense for what we've seen from Pirates in Pajamas, right? They typically lean towards that brawl style composition with the Ramatra, which we saw a lot. We typically see that on the defense side when it comes to Midtown, especially on that first point, though. Get past that first point, you switch over to Winston a little bit more. However, if they can stall things out on that first point of Midtown, then win out in whatever they need to, potentially could find themselves really great success. It just all comes down to how they can recover what Strix just were able to accomplish on Ilios.
I think it also opens the door if you are Pirates for Scissors to play the Echo. I mean, we saw it on that previous map on Lighthouse, but I'm not a big fan of doing the Echo with the Ash. They don't pair well together specifically on that map. You gotta pair that Echo with either the Tracer or the Sombra, so you have that ability for those supports who always have to worry about a Tracer in their backlines, plus those sticky bombs that are in their face. The Ash is just poking at afar. It's hard for her to sync up with anything. So I think coming into Midtown, it's going to be a nice little reset for Pirates, and hopefully they're going to be able to turn things around and make this a 1-1 series.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be their map choice, the first time that we're seeing it here this evening, and one of the first times we've seen it in quite some time, as a matter of fact, that Pirates in Pajamas gets to choose the battlefield that they go to. Midtown, it has been a comfort pick, though. It's a fairly comfortable map that has a lot of different styles of compositions that you could play. We typically don't see teams go into Grand Central Station very often, but when we do, it becomes one heck of a brawl down. But I think for Pirates in Pajamas, they obviously want to stall things out here on that first point. And if they can do that, if they can control the Korova anti-nade narrative that we established in Ilios, then I think they'll be able to find so much more. But they also got to make sure to keep an eye on Crandop. They need to, we hit that on them with that first map, right, Ray? That Pirates in Pajamas like to kind of separate themselves. They get into really isolated positions where they get picked off or they can't get any utility out of each other. So Pirates in Pajamas, they need to get that coordination going here if they want to find success on Midtown.
Couldn't agree with you more, and they're always going to have that threat of Taejong just in their backlines, and they have to be very careful. As we see Pirates in Pajamas on this defense, they are going to have Chronic go over to that Ash and keep Scissors on the Tracer, which I think for this defensive setup, specifically on first point, I think it's a good idea. Ash, this is a very good playground for her. Nice mid-range area for her to play with. The dynamite damage, especially in these close spaces, goes really strong. And the Ramatra, I mean, we saw how good Pirates was on well specifically, and these close quarters, especially on this first point, bode really well to playing our matcha. As we look at what Strix, and I was trying to stall to see if this is what they're committing to, and they are going to commit to the Junker Queen, which very interesting going up against this Ramatra. Being able to put that bleed on him is going to be a big deal, and being able to focus him down because the Nemesis Storm has already been forced out.
Yes, it has. Strider, that's going to be rough for them. Needs to get over onto the stairway. Krandop hit with the anti-nade, but they're rotating around towards the firehouse. Just get inside the safety of the building and start fighting things out on the point itself. Picks up the Mega Pack. They're going to go over to the high ground. Strix still not able to make any picks, but neither is Pirates in Pyjamas. And once they get over there, Strider will have that Nemesis form back up.
Yeah, but the weird thing to me is them holding the high ground like that. I guess they're just trying to get Rymazing up there to be able to set up some good picks. But Krandop has already been taken down, but they did get a Chevron out of it.
Yeah, with the fall of Krandop, they got the tick on the Chevron. Now it's just muscling through and picking off the rest. Rymazing falls. Kurova with him as well. The Strix attempt was happening there, but building up towards ultimate. If we look at that percentages, Pirates in Pyjamas, however, pulling a little bit forward ahead, and now a rough stagger.
As this is going to be tough sledding for Strix to try and push in here. Yes, you have a lot of damage output on the field, especially with the Junker Queen. But once that commanding shout is popped and you wait it out if you're Pirates, it is going to be very quick sledding, especially with all the damage that you're taking from Scissors and Chronic from afar and Strider with those punches.
Yeah, get into their faces, and the another anti-nade Z-Man is now landing some pretty sick ones up there. Amazing, tried to rocket slide to regroup with the rest of the team, but Strider is going to punch them right into their face and take away a lot of that railgun potential damage for the team. Strix just trying to desperately get onto the point, but it's not happening. Oh my word. We're seeing 2 pulse bombs on that kill feed, but Taejong blows themselves up a little bit to go along with Z-Man.
As that is back to the spawn doors, as Strix is now going to have to swap the composition. They're now going Winston, which again is still going to be tough because this Ramatra can constantly be in the Winston's face and not allow him to get some good jumps. And you got to find some damage to help focus this Ramatra down. There's just not a lot of damage to be had in the Strix composition.
All right, a Kitsune rush from Kurova. Really wants to give Strix just that little bit of extra oomph. We're going to see Strider now annihilating everyone in their direction. Pirates in Pyjamas popping 3 ultimates. They use the Nano Boost Rally and Strider's Annihilation. They are going to win out in this team fight, but now we look towards the future. Strix about to get 2 online. Pirates in Pyjamas, that was a little bit of a costly team fight.
Very costly, but Strix, I mean, it's not like they have like these game-changing ultimates. I mean, Rymazing's going to have to come through pretty strong on this overclock. Chronic's going to have the ability to stall the point with this Bob, but this Hyon sound barrier has the ability with no pressing ultimates from Pirates to be able to use this offensively and aggressively if you want.
Oh, right into the back line. It's going to be Krandop. Wants to disrupt, interrupt, and destruct as best they can. Bob down onto the field, getting so low right there. It's going to be as Lucio sound barrier, the power of music to keep them going. Rymazing. Overclock is not going to find Jack and Diddley. Meanwhile, inside the dangers of this, a nice stick goes off, but the only one to fall from it is going to be Z-Man. Taejong is still going to try and duke it out, but when you're in the close quarters, Pirates in Pyjamas is going to bash your brains in, and they are coming up with so much success. It's going to force out the Primal Rage. Krandop in these last final few seconds. Ray, Strix has nothing on the table, and with 15 seconds to go.
Yeah, they've now swapped over to the Sombra, so maybe this hack is going to give you this in you need to get into this fight. Kurova is very close to this Nano, might give Krandop that needed edge, but Pirates are so close to both of their support ultimates. They got to build up to these to bring it home.
They really do. It's just going to be even more unfortunate. Z-Man wins out against Rymazing. Krandop couldn't get out in time. That anti-nade was just so powerful. Z-Man turning around the attention of everything in this matchup. Oh, my word. Pirates in Pyjamas, like I said, Ray, they wanted a hold here on this first point. And what have they done? They have done just that, with Strix only being able to take 50.2%. And so now we have our win condition.
So a couple of things. Pirates are just playing very clean. They are letting Chronic completely control the high ground. And if they've even attempted to go after him, you got a coach gun. You got a whip shot from the brig. You just have protection and allowing Chronic to pop, which we didn't see as much on the previous map of Lighthouse. And then for Strix specifically, when you're in this Junker Queen composition, it's all about you moving as a unit and seeing Rymazing kind of get caught by himself and Pirates taking advantage of that. You can't see those kinds of things happen. I know that you're a Sojourn, you kind of want to take these off angles, but when you're going up against a brawl like the Ramatra, you can't hide. They're going to find you. They're going to isolate you, and that's going to be it. So if you're Strix, this is a precarious position. All you need is 50.3% from Pirates and Pyjamas, as we see them trying to take a similar position, but they're going to have Rymazing on the Sojourn. So not as much consistent damage output, but is going to have the ability to click those heads, and that's the value of that Sojourn. So we got to see that from Rymazing.
Yeah, that's going to be the tough thing though, right, Ray? Is that you need to click those heads. You got to build up to the railgun in the first place, the railgun shot, and then actually be able to land it. It's going to be very difficult, especially when you talk about the consistent damage that Chronic brought on the Ashe, who, by the way, is now on the Ashe itself. So we're going to see a little bit more poke come out from Pirates and Pyjamas, already pushing themselves forward. Strider up in the air, sees Krandov on the stairway, forcing them back over towards the train, but not ready to engage just yet, just seeing if maybe there's a pick to be made. The rest of Pirates and Pyjamas hiding out inside of the room before Strider begins their attack and their assault once more.
As these Tracers are duking it out, the good thing for Pirates and Pyjamas is Strix is not playing a Ramatra composition, so it makes pushing into this point that much easier.
Pirates and Pyjamas, they love playing this patient game. They love waiting to find the pick. Strider now in the backline, Taejong seeing if maybe a pick could happen there, but no, instead, Krandov is going to be the one to fall. Rymazing, Taejong, 7 HP, hits the recall, but needs to regroup with their support lines in order to keep them alive, but really, it's just all for naught. Pirates and Pyjamas taking Midtown. Now we're looking at a tied scoreline in the series, 1-1.
What a domination from Pirates and Pyjamas. It's almost like they took that first map loss like personally. They go, all right, enough is enough. We're taking you to our best map, Midtown, and we're going to absolutely just send you home, send you packing. GG's, go next map. Let's see what you can do as we head into Escort.
Exactly. Pirates and Pyjamas, I'm going to echo. I'm going to say what you said earlier, Ray. It was just a really clean map. They played the brawl style composition of Ramatra so well. They isolated targets, they go for them. But I think the important thing to talk about when it comes to how Pirates and Pyjamas likes to play is that they're very patient. They don't overextend when they don't need to. As long as they're able to make Strix make the mistake, right? That's what they're looking for. And once Strix makes that mistake, Pirates and Pyjamas are so quick at being able to find that mistake and then capitalize on that mistake.
And that's what I've kind of noticed, especially coming into Overwatch 2, especially as a tank player, that as long as you play patient, play careful, play your cover, wait for the enemy team to make their mistake, turn around and punish them, that's kind of the way it goes on these in these compositions now. And we just saw that play out beautifully for Pirates and Pyjamas, and they tie up the series. In that map, it was not even close.
Yeah, the Strider Scissors combo as well, when you are empowered by Z-Man landing some, I mean, unbelievable anti-nades. It's like what we were talking about in Ilios with Kurova, but then now it's Z-Man's turn to be able to really start dictating the pace of how things are going to be going. But Ray, hey, we got to go to a map 3, and what better map to go to than Route 66, this being the choice of Strix. And again, it comes down to how well these maps are going to play with a Winston-style composition. And obviously, I think here with Route 66, a lot of different high ground opportunities for you to be able to abuse and to need to get to. Winston is going to play really well here. We've seen that time and time again. It really just comes down to what are we going to be looking at when it comes to our DPS lineup, right? We saw a whole cavalcade of different ones coming out on Midtown. We saw Sojourn, we saw Ashe, obviously. And so I think here for Route 66, Strix choosing this, not the worst decision.
I think one interesting wrinkle you can think about coming into this map, I especially with first point specifically, I think if you're Pirates in Pajamas, this Ramatra composition that you've been absolutely dominant on, I think can work in your favor offensively or defensively for the first point. It's not a lot of super high ground, a lot of just medium range high ground. Defensively, you could put you back on your Ash once again. And then you're able to just absolutely dominate and control that high ground. And then offensively, again, I think the Ash being able to coach gun up on top of the train and really clear things up and make things open. Chronic, I'm sorry, my bad, Chronic. Chronic on the Ash, being able to just absolutely reign supreme. But I think also, as you mentioned, Winston is, the main piece of the puzzle that we see for Route 66. But don't count out Pirates being able to play this Ramatra, especially on first point.
No, we're never gonna discount the Ramatra composition that we've seen from Pirates in Pajamas. Worked out really well on round 1 of Ilios. Into round 2 a little bit, started to falter off, but on Midtown it was completely and totally different story. And I think what else is important for Pirates in Pajamas was that we also got to see them make the Winston composition work, right? We got to see them be able to make it sing in their favor, stand up to Strix where this on Cran.
Yeah, and they already found Chronic, so GG.
Oh, we are?
Are we live?
Oh, okay. All right, anyways, hello and welcome back, everyone. We can see the gameplay. Thank you all for being patient while we're going through the technical issues, but Pirates in Pajamas already halfway through point B. 2 minutes and 54 seconds on the clock. Strix 3 ultimates that are not on the board, 2 built up towards it, but Pirates in Pajamas has basically a cavalcade of their own.
Yeah, they forced out quite a lot of ultimates in that previous fight. Pirates in Pajamas did, so now this is their fight to win and bring it home, but they get so low and they found Chronic already.
Oh, Chronic was just at the wrong place, wrong time, and is going to feel the full fury from Strix for making that mistake. Tried to rocket slide back to the rest of the team. Now Krandop is in the face of Z-Man, but hit with that anti-nade right back on. The Primal Rage has come through. That is a huge sleep onto the Primal Raging Winston. Now Strider is going to do the same favor right into Strix's team. The backline is going to be disrupted, but Pirates in Pajamas is not going to find any progress.
Rhymazing has a free EMP, but he's been found out, forced to completely back out there. But you're going to be able to reset. So this is looking actually pretty dangerous for Pirates in Pajamas, but he keeps getting found out.
Yeah, it's just Pirates in Pajamas knows that Rhymazing is trying to set themselves up. And if it wasn't obvious before, well, it is very obvious now what they want to do. They see it. They are ready to do it. Z-Man caught inside of it. They need to try and get away, but no one can capitalize from that EMP on Rhymazing. Z-Man is going to stay alive perfectly fine. Now we have Chronic on the high ground with his overclock. Finds one of their targets. Blasts their heads right off. Needs to regroup over towards Z-Man to get their healing back up to full. Now it's just whatever they can do to stay alive. And they're doing a really good job, especially when Zolik is giving you that rally. Chronic is getting a lot of value right now, and that payload is getting to point B.
And the best part of your Pirates in Pajamas, yes, you did have to use a lot, but you got Strix to respond, and you found the picks in the meantime. So you got to come back and reset. You have a Pulse Bomb and a Nano to be able to use, and Strix, I mean, their closest ultimate is this rally, but they don't have a whole lot to use. So if you're Pirates, this is your opportunity to gain a lot of distance on this point C.
Yeah, and Strider has separated Hayon from actually being able to give any support over towards Krandop, push them back down onto the ground. Now this is a bad position for Krandop to be in. Even with that bubble, Chronic just slides right inside and hits the railgun shot onto them. Now Strider sees a whole team of Strix that's just ready and open for the rest of Pirates in Pajamas to make their way through. Pop the Primal Rage, juggle Hayun into the corner, really prevent them from doing anything there. And now it's just swinging your fist and letting Pirates in Pajamas do what they do best, wipe Strix off the map.
And now you get to be able to use this Nano if you're Z-Man, so Strider can take a very forward-facing position and look to get aggressive. Rhymazing, 15% away from this EMP. Strix really needs this online to finally get their footing on this point C defense.
They have to. Strix is running out of time, running out of space to be more precise. Pirates in Pajamas, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Z-Man is giving Zolik the Nano boost, making sure they stay safe. Krandop is very angry right now, but you can't say the same for the side of Strix. Chronic is clicking all of the heads, getting them down. Another one has fallen. Taejong may have been able to take down Zolik, but I mean, Chronic is tearing it up right now. Taejong to stall things out. A pretty good job of that so far. Still has the recall available to use. Back up to full. Strider is just absolutely cleaving through, but no one to touch. That is Pyjamas and Pyjamas going all of the way with 3 seconds under the minute.
That's actually very unfortunate for Strix. They actually had the numbers, and they could have just touched. I feel like they would have won that fight, and then Pirates would have been in a very bad spot. But I digress. Pirates get that across the line. Very impressive. 1 minute on the clock is Route 66. This point C is so hard to take, and Pirates just steamrolled it like it was nothing. Like they were just laying out some new road and just had a steamroller out there just laying down that asphalt. Ridiculous. As Strix, now we mentioned 1-1. This was their map pick, so to let that go with 57 seconds on the clock, I mean, that's gotta put a little bit of pressure on your back. I feel like you don't want to give a team like Pirates this much momentum. Don't want them taking 2 maps in a row like this.
No, you don't, especially not in such a dominating fashion, right? To go all of the way on Route 66. Ray, you mentioned it earlier, though, about Pirates and Pyjama using the brawl style composition on the first point. And
on the defense, too. I thought it'd be a lot better on the defense as well. So I think it's going to play similarly to Midtown. Crandop is going to have a hard time trying to find people to dive onto. You're going to have a Reaper now in your face who is just the antithesis to Winston. Winston just cannot stand Reapers. He's just his mortal enemy. And it's just going to make Crandop's job so much harder, and they're going to be able to hold close like this.
Yeah, and what we're seeing from Pyjamas and Pyjamas here, holding very close as opposed to what Strix did, which was on the gas station. Pyjamas and Pyjamas is just going to have their way. Crandop, oh my word, you couldn't even see the health bar. They got that low. Scissors can just stay inside of this trailer. They don't need to go out. They can get the healing back and just find out where Crandop is, get on top of them immediately, and look at that. That's exactly what they're going to do. Hit the Zolik speed boost, and Strider is just going to start muscling down your support line. Unless Crandop is there to save the day, but they can't. They fall.
As this Ramatra close hold spawn is just ridiculous. Kind of brings me back to when Team USA was holding real close like this in the World Cup. With the Reinhardt, it plays very similarly, and this Reaper is just raining terror onto Strix. They got to find something. They got to find a way to stop this Reaper.
Yeah, anytime you try to go in there, though, Reaper can burn you down. Crandop has been hit with the hack, needs to back away. Scissors, once you get on top of them, it's either Crandop stays and dies or has to jump out and not really find any value from the Winston so far until they get the nano boost thanks to Kurova. Finding whatever target they can. Zolik is going to be the first one, and now that you've taken away the speed from Pirates and Pyjamas, that is a massive victory, and Strix can finally move forward, Ray, but the timer is not looking healthy.
It's not looking healthy, but you got Pirates. They used both of their support ultimates there. Look at the green check marks for Strix. They got 4 of them to be able to use. Taejong with this Genji. They have absolutely nothing to try and deal with this. I feel like if you're Chronic, maybe you hold the EMP, wait for this Genji to come in and EMP it, and look to focus him down very quickly. That's your only answer to this blade.
Here it is, going up onto the high ground. It's going to be Amazing popping the EMP. It catches 3 inside of it. Z-Man and Zolik are gone. Pyjamas and Pyjamas has no more supports to work with here. And once Strix gets going, once they figure out the downfall, how to take apart this brawl style composition of Pirates and Pyjamas, well, they do just that.
Now, this Ana Zen that Strix is playing is very potent. You have to deal with not only anti-nades, but Discord orbs that just make it so hard for Pirates and Pyjamas to get anything done. But they get to come back, 3 ultimates in the back pocket, but here's the blade.
Oh my word, Scissors just said, nah, I'm gonna press Death Blossom and completely delete you off of the map. And EMP to go along with it. Crandop was caught inside of it. Couldn't really do anything for themselves. They had to back away inside of that Primal Rage. Strider's gonna push forward. Give Strix some pause. Crandop has fallen. Amazing may have beaten out Chronic. It's just not going to be any good. Strix has fallen, and Pirates and Pyjamas back in control of that payload.
Uh-oh, Sam. This is where things are getting very precarious for Strix. Under a minute left on the clock. They are nowhere. I mean, they're close to an EMP and a nano, but Strider has this annihilation online, and they're so close to double support ultimates. They're gonna have to get in, and their win condition has to be this EMP with 40 seconds left.
It's gonna have to be here. It's gonna have to be now. Taejon gets hacked out. Deflect comes up just in time for them to regroup with the rest of the team. Strider caught out in a rough sleep. Now the Nemesis formed to keep themselves alive, but that even throughout all of this, the Discord orb is just doing so much damage. The big win here for Pirates and Pyjamas, the fall of Krandov. Strider is going to do so as well. Excuse me. What is this Zenyatta doing? Pop that Transcendence. Time to go forward. The EMP on top of it. Z-Man and Zolik is going to be the Z-Man Coalescence to try and stall things out, but how much can you try for here? Now it's going to be Zolik to cycle through. Drops down the sound barrier, waiting for Pirates and Pyjamas, the rest of the reinforcements to come in. Both of these supports are doing the absolute best amount of work that they can. Krandov needs to go up into the air, make sure that they survive. They don't have the bubble just yet, but healed back up thanks to that bio grenade. Still looking to get themselves up back to full, but now Scissors has popped the Death Blossom, push themselves forward. Strix, no one left to touch. Pirates and Pyjamas is going to take the lead here. 2-1 now in this series, and now series point.
Sam, I talked about how those support ultimates for Pirates and Pyjamas were getting so close to being online, and they were the reason Pirates and Pyjamas takes this map, and we are headed to a map for 2-1 in favor of Pirates. The Coalescence and the sound barrier allowed them to survive just long enough to get the Sombra back, to get the Doomfist back, to get your Reaper back. Then your Reaper's able to build Death Blossom, and he's able to just Beyblade to victory. And that was all she wrote. Pirates have now found their momentum. This is where, if I'm Strix, I'm like, uh-oh. Like, this might be we might have awoken the beast.
Yeah, so when we came back right after the tech break and saw how far Pirates and Pyjamas had pushed forward in that short amount of time, they had gotten halfway through point B already, and then managing to take it all of the way. That's not easy to do in any situation whatsoever, but with 57 seconds on the clock added on top of that, then you give them the brawl style composition, and it all comes down to how well this team continues to cycle through their ultimates. There's no panic inside of them. They go through it cleanly and then come out with great success here. Pirates and Pyjamas now looking at that series point, and it's all going to come down to push. Strix needs to stop it here so that way they can tie things up once again. Bring us to that control map. Pirates and Pyjamas looking to finish it off here and get 7-1 on the leaderboard.
Strix's map choice once again. Where do they want to take this? I mean, I felt like they have taken most comfort in Winston-based compositions, so I feel like that lends itself. You're not picking Coliseo. That is just asking for Ramatra v Ramatra, and you're not winning that against Pirates. So the question has to be, where do you feel like you get more value out of the Winston? I feel like the question is probably, the answer, is probably Esperanza. A lot more high ground to be able to work with if you're a Winston. I feel like when it comes to New Queen Street, it's kind of like mid-level high ground. It's kind of easy for Ramatra to be able to go up there and take it himself. So that the leap becomes very more prevalent if you go to Esperanza.
Exactly. It's Esperanza, in my opinion, is one of those really cool maps that if you have a Winston that can take advantage of the high ground techniques, right? The ability to jump into them and start dominating that high ground positioning and push off the players that are on that high ground, really comes up for them in a big way. If you're playing a brawl style composition, you're playing Ramatra, it takes you so long to get to that high ground where the Winston has already been there and is cleaving through you. And so if we do go to Esperanza, that is obviously something that we're going to be keeping an eye on. New Queen Street, however, we've also been seeing that kind of being a popular map for contenders teams to play on. That's where we see even the Winston style composition still managed to find a lot of great success in and of itself as well. And so potentially, yeah, those two maps. Coliseo, though, like you said, unless Strix really wants to brawl it out against Pirates and Pyjamas, they do have that choice in their back pocket.
And keep in mind, I mean, this is match point for Pirates and Pajamas. They are looking to close out this week on a very strong point, which could be 7-1. And Strix, they're 3-4 right now, hoping they can somehow turn this around and at least go into next week with a nice 4-4 record. Because I mean, there's still lots of Overwatch to be played next week, but after this first round of games here, Strix finds themselves on the outside looking into that top 8.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure that's being put on Strix. They had to be having that in the back of their minds, right? That they want to be able to close things out here against Pirates and Pajamas. Not only that, but to do so against Pirates and Pajamas, who is currently kind of like number 2 in the seeds at the moment. Only being beaten out by 0-3 Splash, and even then, once again, it's the map differential that goes into the favor of Pirates and Pajamas. You got to imagine that Strix wants to do whatever they can to come out on top here. And so mulling it over, this map choice is very important for them. And I'm assuming that's probably one of the reasons why we haven't seen that map just yet. They really want to take their time. They really want to make sure that they get it right.
Yeah, and they probably need a nice mental break. I mean, all things considered, these last 2 maps pretty fast. I mean, Midtown blinked and it was 1-1.
Yeah.
Then we go to Route 66 and Pirates gets all 3 points and then first point holds them. So I feel like you just need to calm down, reset the mentals, get back into that zone you had on Ilios, make the correct map pick choice, and hopefully force a map 5 where, I mean, we saw their dominance on control. So if they can bring this to a map 5, I'm sure they like their chances.
Yeah. When it comes to the sort of mental game that you're playing, right, in these competitive esports titles, you really got to make sure that you have that understanding, right? Take a small break, get the momentum away as well from Pirates and Pajamas, who they've been kind of having a really good night, right? The only map they've lost 1 map out of the 5 total that they've played so far. And so this is a really good, or I'm sorry, 6 rather. I know how to count. I know how to do math, everyone. Trust me, I swear. But yeah, out of the 6 maps that they played so far, only dropping 1. This has been a really big momentum builder for them. And yeah, this is something that Strix really wants to stop. And now, especially now that they've molded over Ray, it looks like we are indeed going to Esperanza.
Yeah, again, I think it just comes down to we like to play Winston. I mean, talking from Strix's perspective, which map is going to allow us to play that to the best of our capabilities, and that is Esperanza. Problem is, Ramatra is a very viable composition on Esperanza, and it counters Winston pretty well, especially when they're playing that Reaper. So I'm really curious to see if Pirates and Pajamas are going to look to play the Ramatra once again, or if they're going to try and match them Winston for Winston.
Who knows? We'll see. Obviously, Pirates and Pajamas so far has really liked to play the Ramatra Brawl. But the other important thing to note is that if they need to play Winston, they can play Winston. They were able to do it on Midtown, and Strix just had no answer to be able to stop them, even in a Winston-style composition of their own. Pirates and Pajamas, we look towards, especially like the efforts of Z-Man. Z-Man has been able to land anti-nade after anti-nade after anti-nade that has sort of been kind of game-winning, team-winning anti-nades that completely rewrote the history of what Pirates and Pajamas is putting out there. Strix is able to do some of their own. It's just the capitalization just isn't quite there.
Only time is going to tell as we're getting the lobby set up, but if you're Pirates and Pajamas, like we mentioned, being able to get out of this week 7-1, I just checked the main broadcast, and 0-3 Splash is currently struggling against Wisp. So you might be able to look at yourself in a situation where you might have, I think they have the map differential on them too, since they haven't played yet. So you could be looking at first place coming out of week 2, which would be a huge boom for Pirates and Pajamas. So they just got to continue this positive momentum they've been able to build up after dropping the first map and bring this home and just feel really good going into the final week before we go to playoffs.
Exactly, and I think we're all very excited too to see the Pirates in Pajamas against O3 Splash, which, by the way, taking place on my birthday. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick, but here we have it. We're looking at Esperanza. Once again, Strix is map choice. A lot of pressure on them here to be able to win out on push because there is no other opportunities. If Pirates in Pajamas takes the win, well, they get to go up 7-1. Strix is going to have the unfortunateness of going 3-5, which, as we've stated multiple times now, Ray, not what you want. You do not want this to happen if you're Strix.
Here we go. The battlefield that could decide it all. Esperanza. If you are Strix, I think we know what the name of the game is here. We're going to see that Winston composition. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Taejong on the Tracer, Raimazing on that Sombra once again. So what do Pirates look to do? And as it sits, Pirates are looking to match them on the Tracer Sombra, which I think for this map, as I mentioned, because of the ability to be able to leap up onto those bridges and control high ground, Winston's going to be the choice for these teams.
And it looks like indeed. We also got a little teaser of Life Weaver, but Zolik going over to Brig. It makes sense, but you know, Ray, they mess with my soul, they mess with my heart. Strix versus Pirates in Pajamas, however, very similar compositions. In fact, some might say a complete and total mirror matchup. Strider is going to be the first one to engage against Strix, but forced down onto the ground, waiting for a little bit of healing. Cran is going to be the target of that hack in the first place, as both Winstons looking to just play it safe for the moment before rotating over to fight on the bot.
Again, this is where I want to see the patience from Pirates continue to reign supreme. We've said how patient they've been throughout this series, waiting for the other teams to make the mistake, but Strix gets aggressive and finds the pick.
Indeed they do. Strix called that out perfectly. Realized that Zolik was by themselves. Get on top of them. Get rid of them. No more Brig. Pirates in Pajamas is going to be our plaything now, and it seems like it so far as the bot begins to push forward for Strix.
That's the one thing you can't do. If you're playing patient like that, you can't afford to let a support be out of position and alone like that. So if you're Pirates in Pajamas, you got to come back and reset. And again, patience is key. Looking for these dive targets. They're able to force out the Sombra, it looks like.
Yeah, they're able to push them away. Raimazing still chilling out right there. Hits the translocator over towards the safety of the rest of their team. Bot didn't get to go very far, 19.15 meters, but now Pirates in Pajamas gets to kind of get some meterage of their own against Strix. Neither one of these teams really making any headway across these bridges just yet. Taejong is now realizing once again that, hey, Zolik has fallen. Time to go into the back line and start putting more pressure on there.
As Zolik continues to get pressured out every fight. Just look at the ult discrepancy between Hyon and Zolik. 65 to 35. As now we're going to get a battle of these DPS ultimates, these EMPs. Who's going to get in and be aggressive? In the beginning of the series, Chronic was the one who was seeing the value in these EMPs, but we've seen Raimazing start to come back and really find some great EMPs. So looking at both of these players coming in this next fight.
Yeah, now Strix just pushing forward even more so. Kurama throws out the nano boost onto Hyun, and guess what? It is just death incarnate, as Strix just seems incredibly unstoppable against Pirates in Pajamas.
As they threw basically the kitchen sink at that fight, but very warranted and very necessary, in my opinion, to be able to unlock this butt scratch mode. It's so important being able to unlock these forward spawns. It's going to make Strix's job going forward that much easier because, again, Pirates in Pajamas are going to have to win 2 fights to be able to get any kind of progress on the point.
And they're just having such difficulties even being able to get to the bot itself. They have seen it over and over again here on push. We have, rather, that Strix is just going to back away, give up a little bit of space for Pirates in Pajamas to work with, set themselves up in ideal positions, cramped up, hit with the anti-nade, forced to back off, but that's going to wear away and give themselves back up some more health. Strider distracted a little bit by Taejong, but now the bot going in the other direction. But Strix giving up a little bit to potentially gain a lot.
As we're just seeing Crandop get hacked, but he's able to get away. Pirates in Pajamas, they're not going to have to deal with this rally coming online. Question is, you're going to have to be very careful here. You do not want to commit too many ultimates to win this fight.
What a sleep from Kurova, but now the Primal Rage has been popped. Separating, isolating, see if you maybe can get a pick off on Strix. Now over towards Crandop. Strider's been given the nano boost, dive on top of it, but hit with a whip shot. doing a fantastic job of keeping and peeling off to let their team be safe. Kurova, Z-Man, these anti-nades once more. Kurova was just caught inside of it. Now we've lost a lot of healing for Strix. You can see that they're respecting that from Pirates and Pyjamas, going to back away, pick up the Mega Pack there if Krandop needs it, which they do, and regroup to fight again.
Yeah, but they're going to be walking into a Sledgehammer, which is this chronic EMP. My question is, Mason going to beat him to the punch? Once again, it happened last time, and Strix was able to take the first point because of it.
That they were. We're going to see what happens here with this battle of the EMPs. First one to go off is going to be from Amazing, Z-Man to fall. Zolik to follow shortly after. No more supports for Pirates and Pyjamas. A lot of that damage is going to hurt a heck of a lot more. Strix coming out on top of the other end with this. 2 ultimates committed. Now begins to work their way back towards getting the forward spawns.
Once again, Amazing wins the battle of the EMP, and it's been an important battle to win to be able to set your team up for victory on Esperanza. As you mentioned, they're trying to push this belt forward to be able to unlock those forward spawns, as both teams aren't working with a whole lot. The closest thing we're getting to is a Scissors pulse bomb.
Oh, Zolik to fall the first one again.
That can't happen.
It can't happen every single time, because then you leave Z-Man in a really rough, awkward position where Pirates and Pyjamas needs to go back to make sure that they can actually survive. And now, in an even crueler twist of fate, Kurova has taken down Scissors. Pirates and Pyjamas just cannot find any foothold on Esperanza.
Again, it's still coming down to Taejong and Amazing targeting Zolik every fight. And look, he's down again.
Down again. This is disastrous every single time because of where Zolik has come back from as well. A really good stick landing on top of Strider. You cannot see their HP bar anymore. They do manage, it looks like, to get towards safety, get their health back, but yeah, now you're just continuing to get more bot progress here rather, for Strix. But a small technical pause is going to come in while we get that sorted out. Ray, I mean, we got to talk about it here. Things are not looking good for Pirates and Pyjamas.
It really isn't. Things are looking incredibly dangerous. This is the territory where we're starting to get into the final 3 minutes, and the distance discrepancy is just getting wider and wider. And this is the point where if I wasn't live casting and I was just watching this on my couch with my popcorn, I'd be like, yeah, it's over. But I'm not willing to call that as a caster. I'm just not. But if I'm on my couch, I'm getting really close to calling it, as Pirates just have not been able to find anything. They have to do a better job at protecting their Brig.
Brig has just been the target every single time. Could not get away. And if you see it happening every single time, Zolik getting picked off, then they have to make the long walk back to regroup with the rest of the team, only to be picked off again immediately the second they get back there. So, I mean, Zolik right now has probably been playing press W to go forward simulator right now, really, rather than just getting to play Brig any. But yeah, Amazing and Taejong are doing such a phenomenal job at catching Zolik out. Hit them with the hack, then just get rid of them. What are they going to do? So far, it hasn't been anything.
It's been zilch, nada, butt kiss, just a whole lot of nothing. As again, if you're Pirates, man, I don't know if you want this going 5. You got to make these necessary changes. You had all the momentum in your favor to drop this map and then put it into, give the positive momentum to Strix going forward. I mean, the only consolation prize is you get to pick the final map, but you just don't want that happening. And Scissors is down, another late stagger.
Yeah, the technical pause has been ended, and coming out of that pause is Scissors getting blasted away by Krandop, who has their primal rage. If anything starts to go wrong, you're gonna lure Strider inside of this hallway. Oh my god. Strider was basically lured into there and took the bait. Strix was more than happy to capitalize on that, destroyed them.
But again, they're just able to continue to apply this pressure and get this forward cart progress. Pirates and Pyjamas, however, are coming up on a plethora of ultimates. This is their opportunity, if there ever was one, Sam.
Opportunities abound. They need to be capitalized on here. It is getting very low. Look at that EMP. 3-4 caught inside of it, but no one to fall from it just yet. Z-Man throwing off the nano boost onto Strider, and now we're seeing some signs of life from Pirates in Pyjamas. Takes down Crandop. Strider trying to put the favor over onto Hyun, but it's not going to happen. It's just not able to quite get there on top of that. And Taejong is going to get rid of Z-Man, but in trade, Kurova has fallen as well. Blow, boom, everyone is falling. Scissors throws off a really good pulse bomb. Pirates in Pyjamas, they are finally getting the spot under their control as soon as Crandop gets off of it. Or not.
Out. They're so low because the healers are taken down. They cannot afford to press up, and they find Scissors.
This is getting more and more disastrous. And with 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, they still have some wiggle room, but that wiggle room is getting tighter and tighter until the EMP comes in. 4 caught inside of it, but Hyun was not. And guess what? That rally is going to bail Strix out and allow them to push forward, taking away any chance that Pirates in Pyjamas had of taking that bot back.
And Rymazing is so close to this EMP, Sam. It might just be over. They found Zolik.
They found Zolik again, the very first initial pick. Rymazing 3% away from the EMP of their own. Don't need to use it in this team, but gets to save it for the next one. And a stagger onto Strider.
EMP pulse bomb to send it as Chronic is going over the Widow. Desperation trying to find some quick and easy picks out the gate as we now see Strider going over to the Junker Queen. They are just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping something sticks.
Just hoping that something might be able to work here, but no, that EMP is going to fire them all into the freaking sun. Taejong has taken down Chronic. Strider isolated and away from the rest of the team, has to hope that some healing is going to come in now or never. They are dipping dangerously up, down, and all around, but Strix now here at the final finish line is pushing the bot all of the way here on Esperanza and taking us in to map 5.
What more could we ask for from a contenders match? I mean, we talked about it at the jump of this stream, how competitive this season has been. Throw the records out the door. So many map 5 series have happened in NA. It is ridiculous. And we find ourselves with another one as Strix found the momentum they were waiting for. Rymazing has now found the edge in this Sombra battle, and they are just riding it to victory.
I cannot believe really what we just witnessed here. It's like Strix realizing that, yeah, this is where we need to come online. And usually when we get onto push maps, right, it's either a back and forth. And for this map in particular, it was like Strix said, nah, this is our map. We chose it for a reason because we know what we can get away with on Esperanza. And boy, howdy, did they manage to get away with it in spades. And not only that, Ray, we typically see it going back and forth. It's never a one-sided affair. We don't typically get to see the bot make it all of the way, especially not in contenders level gameplay.
As it all comes down to one final battleground. Pirates in Pyjamas pick. I'm almost certain I know where we're going, Sam.
All right, Ray, you gotta dish the secrets out on me. Where do you feeling that we're going?
I feel like I need some tea or something because I'm about to spill it. I think we're going to Lijiang Tower.
Going to Lijiang Tower. Now, Pirates in Pyjamas. Let's go back in time a little bit here to the very first matchup against Dragon's Dance tonight, where they had a slight misstep. It was a 2-1, but beyond that, it's a map that lends itself very well to, guess what kind of composition that Pirates in Pyjamas like. Indeed so, Ramatra, my good sir, you are very correct. And if there's anything that Pirates in Pyjamas love, it's making that Ramatra work. And if they have the opportunity to be able to use that, then yeah, it's going to be Lijiang Tower.
Just so I don't curse myself, I'll put a little caveat. Maybe we get Nepal, just because that's also a map where you can force a lot of Ramatra. But I mean, we saw how comfortable Pirates on Pyjamas were on Lijiang earlier, so that's my main guess. But as just a little caveat, I'll just throw out Nepal is the only other choice. Like, I don't see us going to like an Oasis. Oasis is just more of a Winston style map outside of University. I don't see us going to Busan outside of, I mean, because downtown is so Winston favorite. I think you're just rolling the dice on possibly getting that map. Lijiang Tower is just like, you can play Ramatra on every single map.
And that's exactly what Pirates and Pajamas
Yeah.
did on that first matchup of Lijiang Tower. So yeah, I would imagine that if they want to go anywhere, Lijiang Tower is going to be the place. Like you said, Nepal also really good Ramatra map, but the comfortability and the fact that they've already played on Lijiang Tower tonight, they've warmed up on it. That was the first map that they did tonight. Sure, it may be in kind of like the distant past right now relative to what we've been doing tonight, but it's still, they've done it. They've done it once, and if they've done it once, they can do it again. Especially very, very important here. You do not want to mess around on map 5.
That you do not. I mean, it's all coming down to this. Is Strix going to ensure they come out of this weekend 4-4, or are Pirates in Pajamas going to end the weekend at a very impressive 7-1 mark? Time will only tell, but we still don't have that map pick in, so it kind of feels like last time where we talked about how it was so important for Strix to get it right, refocus, and they did. They got it right. Their focus came back, and they absolutely dominated that map. So I feel like you need a similar situation for Pirates and Pajamas here, so they can hopefully turn this around.
Yeah, the hope there here for Pirates and Pajamas is that stop Strix in their tracks. This is not the time for you to go 6-2. This is the time for you to go 7-1. Strix, meanwhile, on the other hand, this is like what we've been talking about, the very up and down team that's kind of been the enigma of Contenders Summer Series here on the NA side. The team that is like standing up to the Titans so far, the higher seeds, in ways that it's like, okay, maybe you really shouldn't be doing this, and then in other situations, just not quite able to come out on the other side with a victory. So if Strix is able to win it out here, this really just puts that nail in the coffin for sort of the way that they've been playing this season, especially considering they went up against O3 Splash, got 3-0'd.
It would be quite a way to end this weekend for Strix to, finish off one of the bad boys in Contenders right now, a one-loss team, to get yourself to an even record. I think if you're at an even record, you're probably going to get yourself back into that top 8. And then you get that extra time this week. You get to, VOD review a little bit more, get that extra practice, come into the final week, ready, set, go, get ready to try and punch your ticket into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's really all just coming down to putting a lot of pressure is happening. A lot of pressure is on these teams. That's why we're really, once again, taking some breaks wherever we can get to, and
forgot about this map.
Capitalize on that. All right, now we have it in our final map of the evening is going to be going over to Antarctic Peninsula. An interesting choice here from our friends over at Pirates and Pajamas.
I'm just not used to Antarctica being in the pool. I forget that it exists, but I feel like it's a similar situation to Lijiang Tower. It's Ramatra Central, Brawl Central. So I think the only map where you can argue you play Winston is maybe sub-levels, but even then, Ramatra is still a very strong pick on that map. So I think this lends itself to Pirates and Pajamas very well. I mean, they took a lot of time and carefully considered where they wanted to go. So I'm sure they feel very confident in this map through their scrims and through all their matches so far.
And obviously with this being the newer map in Overwatch 2, there's still some ways around actually playing on this map that maybe they can throw Strix really off of their game. And so if Pirates and Pajamas feels very confident on what they can get away with on Antarctic Peninsula, then why not? Let's take that and let's go with it. If they've been practicing on it and if they feel confident on it, full steam ahead. That's what I'm feeling along with them right now, Ray. And for Pirates and Pajamas, like we said, sometimes you got to take that gamble. Sometimes you got to go for it, and this could be one of those moments. But regardless, we are sitting at that 2-2 score line. This is the final map. One of these teams is going to be walking away with a win. For Pirates and Pajamas, that means 7-1. For Strix, that means 4-4. A lot, especially when we're looking towards the future, is riding on the line here.
As unfortunate for Pirates, you probably get the worst role you could have asked for coming into Antarctic, which is the sub-levels, which is that multi-tiered high ground, low ground map where, I mean, Ramatra can be a very viable pick, but this is where Winston gets that wrinkle, and this is where it can be very powerful. This Sombra Tracer that they're going to be running is going to be very powerful, and they're going to have Chronic for Pirates, play this Hanzo, and try and help control this high ground with that sniper ability.
Yes, indeed. Still, however, let's see what's going to happen here. The doors have been unlocked, control point ticking down before either team is able to get it. Cran has been forced away for the moment. Pirates in Pyjamas, firm control of that high ground just for the moment. But if we look over towards Strix, looking for the opportunity to dive into that back line, Krantop may have been hit with the anti-nade, and that anti-nade is going to be good enough to prevent them from actually pushing forward. They do dive towards Strider, but Strider inside that Nemesis form is going to be a tough cookie for Kran to crack.
Yeah, as it's going to rely a lot on this Tracer Sombra Winston being able to sync up because they don't have the damage individually to help break through this brawl-centric composition that the Ramatra provides, so they all have to be on the same page, focusing their damage on these targets together.
And a really good job. Strider sees the opportunity, sees the two supports isolated, but a good sleep from Kurova is going to put them down onto the ground. Strider tries to get away, forced down below, needs to make sure that Z-Man is able to keep them up and alive. They're doing just that, but the anti-nade could put a linchpin in that plan. Could be the wrench in the cog. The Strider is still alive, has the Nemesis form back up and available, and is ready to begin the fight once more. Taejong, realizing that this is in their face, is going to try and fight it out, but now the Annihilation has come up. It's still a very sketchy moment for Strider here inside of this, especially now that they've been hit with the anti-nade, and even throughout all of that, finally they do fall. Scissors may have landed the pulse bomb onto Heon, but it's really how much more are you going to be able to get out of it? That's a really good sleep from Z-Man. That's what you're going to be able to get out of it. Z-Man may have potentially saved the day here for Pirates in Pyjamas.
Definitely save the day. Taejong comes in back with the pulse bomb, but it is not going to matter. An ultimate down the drain for Strix, as they are all just going to have to go back to the spawn room, but they come back. EMP in their back pocket, but they just cannot continue to allow these stragglers, these late picks coming in for Pirates.
Z-Man, it was all on their shoulders, and they came up in a massive way, slept Kran inside of the nano boost, and then allowed Chronic to come in and finish them off with a clean headshot. Pirates in Pyjamas seems firmly in control inside of this map, where we thought, the sub-map, where we thought that Strix was going to have the advantage inside of this Winston composition, but they're just not in sync with each other, and they're not able to capitalize on this dive style. Krantop has to go down below. Here comes the EMP from Rymazing, and finally, it seems like, yes, Strix is going to find the picks. They're going to find whatever they needed to get success, but not before Pirates in Pyjamas brings them into overtime with 99%.
Yeah, and unfortunate that rally was just not enough for Pirates in Pyjamas to bring it home. But if you're Strix, that was the cost of 2 of your ultimates. You're relying on this rally for this next fight to try and sustain you, because you have to deal with an incoming Dragons that can really split up and separate teammates and allow Pirates in Pyjamas to isolate, as well as Scissors, who's been so good with the pulse bomb. Probably going to be looking to stick high on or Kurova, so your support line has to be very careful coming into this next fight.
That they do, as long as they're able to survive. It's going to be an early rally, but Scissors is going to blow things wide open with a pick onto Rymazing, and the Dragons to come through, really get Pirates in Pyjamas the safety that they need to walk over onto this high ground, force Strix down below. Scissors now really wanted to get on top of Cram before they get that EMP, but they've been given it for themselves. Z-Man rotating over with Zolik, but they really want to make sure they stay alive through this and keep Strider alive, but they've been hacked, they've been hit with the anti-nade, but this Nemesis form is going to get them live. That nano boost is going to get them even more so, especially now that they are ready to start annihilating everything in their sight. No one to survive. Pirates in Pyjamas looking to flip this point over. They have been slept. Strider is taking a little bit of a nap, but they're dreaming of round one being given to them. Just a little bit more of a snooze before that actually is going to be happening here. One last effort and attempt from Cran to make that happen. Hack, and gone they are. Amazing to come forth. Overtime ticking away, and that is a round one for Pirates in Pyjamas, 100-60.
And as I mentioned, Sam, that was probably the worst RNG roll you could have gotten if you're Pirates in Pajamas. These next two maps are so heavily suited toward the Ramatra going forward as we now head into labs. It is looking rough for Strix. Pirates are just able to play exactly what they like to play, as Strix is going to have to match them. It looks like they're going to stay on this Winston, but they're going to keep that Tracer Sombra, as Pirates are looking to go more with the Brawl style, and they are going to play the Mei this time around. So if you're Crandop, you have to continue to be very careful. They are looking to bait you, waiting for you to jump in, waiting to wall you off and wipe you out off the server.
Indeed so. Strix is under a lot of pressure now, needs to win out on this round. Otherwise, Pirates in Pajamas is going to walk away with this series in their pocket. Amazing scouting forward, giving some very valuable information over towards Strix and allowed Taejong to be able to make their way in. But now, without a lot of the high ground, Strix doesn't really have much room to be able to jump around with until you see a huge anti-nade from Kurovo, blowing the doors wide open. The damage was permanent, and Pirates in Pajamas, they're not going to be able to do much to recover from this except for to try and stall the point out for as long as they can.
Yeah, that's gonna be the issue if you're Pirates in Pajamas, because you have to go against this Amazing Sombra. You are playing a lot of heroes that predicate themselves heavily on cooldown usage when it comes to the Mei, when it comes to the Ramatra. We had a BAP at one point, now we got Moira, and now we have Reaper. So it's really tough sledding going against the Sombra in this composition, but now they have Sombra Reaper, so they are trying to make Crandop's playstyle of Winston be that much more difficult. Just like, hey, you're gonna hate playing Winston this round because we're gonna have every weapon in our arsenal to stop you.
Yep, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure you're not able to jump around. And, well, hey, look at that. They've done just that. Cran is not going to be jumping around for a moment longer here. Pirates in Pajamas has the point back under for themselves. Strix did manage to get to 33%. Pirates looking to see if they maybe can find another pick out here, but whip shot it away. Chronic is going to translocate too. Make sure they survive through that. Pirates in Pajamas still working towards that percentage.
Yeah, as unfortunately, because Pirates in Pajamas, they have slow building ultimates. So they're going to have to be very careful because Strix gets to come back, has this EMP pulse bomb, so much to work with. Strix could be looking at a very quick turnaround.
That they can. Strix, those three ultimates are going to have to come in massively. Kran hit with a nano boost, a very angry, very powerful monkey breathing down your neck. Pirates in Pajamas didn't really have anything to fight against here, but for the good news, at the very least, Strix is going to be able to push them off and have three ultimates for the next team fight to fight with.
And the biggest buff that they got was they did not have to use that EMP. Being able to win that purely with the nano and the pulse bomb is going to be massive because Pirates comes back. Just look at this. 5 ultimates to be able to use. So this Amazing EMP becomes that much more important to be able to shut them down quickly before they can even get going.
This is getting a lot more intense. Strix pushing further and further. Amazing set themselves up for the EMP. Both of the supports caught inside of it. Zolik is going to be the one to fall. Now a counter EMP. This time, Kran is going to be the one to suffer by the hands of this very angry Scissors on the Reaper. Back up, hit the race step up here. TP, maybe to be able to take on Taejong. At the very least, you remove them from the high ground. See the recall happening there. Blinks away, but now they have, guess what? A Death Blossom for the next team fight.
And now they're looking to push up and continue. This assault is a Death Blossom. Oh, but the boop.
The boop away. That is disastrous. They use the Annihilation, the EMP, the Coalescence, and now along with it, the Death Blossom. And Pirates in Pajamas did not come out on the other side of that with a victory. Strix right back in control of that point.
Yeah, this Tracer Sombra combination has just been absolutely dominating for Pirates in Pajamas. It's making Scissors' job that much harder, and then it's just forcing Z-Man to have to use that healing gauge very quickly, very early. So then once these fights last more than 10-15 seconds, Moira's all out of heals. Uh-oh, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Oh my word. Taejong, when you needed to come up big, you came up massive. letting the pulse bomb onto Zolik, seeing if whatever you can poke away with now here at the bear. Get back over towards the point. Pirates in Pyjamas did manage to make that flip, but you don't have Zolik. Now you've been hit with the EMP, nowhere really to skate around. Zolik gets back just in time to give out the sound barrier, but Scissors wasn't given it. And so Taejong, realizing that it's just free real estate for them to capitalize on that. Kronk dangerously low from the cells, and a Kurova anti-nade is just going to be that extra cherry on top for Strix, as the rest of them are destroying Pirates in Pyjamas. Overtime is ticking away, and now Ray, what better way for map 5 on control than to go to the final round?
It's all gonna come down to icebreakers, Sam. My big problem is I don't think on this map you can get away with Winston. It's so tough. This map is very, very close quarters. Krandop is going to have to be playing extremely, extremely carefully if they're going to be doing that, and they're not. They know they got to play this game against Pirates in the Ramatra duel, and we're seeing full-on mirrors. So I think what this could come down to, Scissors versus Taejong, who is going to get the better May walls to isolate the enemy Ramatras?
All right, it all comes down to this. The first time that we get to see Strix bringing out the Ramatra composition of their own. Are they going to be able to make it sing, or is this going to be the Pirates in Pyjamas game really proving and stepping forth their dominance on this Antarctic peninsula? It's amazing that this map is even still covered in ice with how hot things are starting to get. But for the moment, both of our teams really not wanting to engage on each other. It's Strix on that point, though. It's going to start taking their way up, forcing Strider to begin their way to go forward. And we got to remember that we don't want to have any mistakes on either side of these teams. No way to be able to capitalize on it. But with the way that things are looking and how low Strider is getting, Pirates in Pyjamas may be the ones who suffer through this first, forcing to pull themselves up with that shield and that disruptor shot to put in that constant dot damage. Is just going to be so much more difficult, and Strix is still actually managing to find more damage onto Pirates in Pyjamas and found Scissors out by themselves, couldn't regroup with the rest of the team. That is disastrous. Strix is going to get, well, until maybe Amazing is going to be actually traded out by Keon. Chronic falls, and it looks like Strix is still going to try and fight this out, or Pirates in Pyjamas is still going to fight this out. Here comes in the sound barrier to be answered with in kind by Kion. Strix and Pirates in Pyjamas are putting forth one heck of a final battle on this point, but Strix gets the first capture.
As both teams committed a lot of ultimates to try and keep that going. The good thing for Pirates is you kept that contest going long enough. It's not like you were just giving a free ult percentage to Taeyong. Now pops the Blizzard.
Pops the Blizzard. It's getting very chilly. You didn't think it could be done anymore on Antarctic Peninsula. Pirates in Pyjamas, though, expertly well done to get outside of that. It's gonna be the Amazing Overclock show. Word! Two caught inside of that, and now the rest of Pirates in Pyjamas soon to follow. They are just collapsing under the pressure of Strix, who has just been hiding this Ramatra composition in their pocket, Ray.
Amazing, the leader of this team, stepping up, started on Esperanza, where he absolutely dominated the Sombra battle with the much better EMPs. Now has the overclock, and absolutely obliterates Pirates back to the spawn room. We're gonna need to continue to see this going forward, as Pirates has the ultimate advantage coming into this fight.
They have not only the ultimate advantage, but now they've lost a member. So Krandop going inside of the Blizzard. This might be the equalization. Scissors now, the double kill of their own, thanks to that Blizzard of themselves. Pirates in Pyjamas looking to hold on to as many ultimates as they possibly can. But on the other side of that wall, Strix is doing a fantastic job at stalling things out, especially now that the amplification matrix has been brought out, forcing Chronic to use the overclock. But they are overclocking, and they are ready to put things down into the ground. Pirates in Pyjamas getting the point, but Strix 73% on the board.
And Pirates is going to have 3 ultimates to be able to continue to hold here. This is where things get a little bit dangerous for Strix, as Pirates should be able to gain a decent amount of percentage here. The problem is you have one sound barrier if you're Pirates, and you have 2 ultimates you're going to have to contest with. Annihilation and a Blizzard. What are you going to look to counter with that sound barrier?
Hopefully Strider will be able to find something with this Annihilation. Amazing, very much out of position. That's going to be an easy one for them to get and capitalize on. Pirates in Pyjamas, a lot of ultimates expended to win out in that team fight. Strix may be able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, you're able to bank that amplification matrix, but as I mentioned, Strix comes back. They held on to that blizzard, so Taejong can be the hero. As I mentioned, Amazing has been the one to step up so far. We're going to need to see Taejong do the same thing on this May with this blizzard, trying to send Strix to an upset victory over Pirates in Pyjamas.
It's getting closer and closer. That percentage is now less than 20%. Pirates in Pyjamas closing that gap in an amazing amount of time, going right onto the field. It's just Strix bullying their way in there. Pirates in Pyjamas, though, like I said, has this point. As long as they can hold on to it, Z-Man with that amplification matrix and now the immortality field has been expended. Scissors with a blizzard. Taejong with a blizzard. First one to use it out over on the other side, but doesn't look like anyone caught here. That is very dangerous, but Scissors slowed enough that Amazing is able to capitalize, and now Kurova is putting forth the damage and the pressure. How much can Pirates in Pyjamas get away with now that Krandop has fallen? We're going to be seeing it right now, right here from Strider, pushing forward, another one to fall, Kurova to be shortly thereafter. Pirates in Pyjamas somehow, in an absolute show and display of force, Ray brought it all the way back and has managed to take Antarctic Peninsula 3-2.
What a match between these two teams, down to the wire. Pirates clutched it up in the composition that they showed to be much more dominant in. Right, man, feels so bad for Strix. They played so well, but Chronic came through with a big overclock. I think it took Strix a little bit too long to push into that final fight where they had the ultimate advantage, allowed on the other side of Pirates in Pyjamas, allowed them to build up to a blizzard of their own. You're able to use that to counter it, and that was all she wrote. Pirates gets to leave week 2 of Contenders at a nice and pretty 8-1 record.
Whew, that is beautiful, Ray. A big congratulations to Pirates in Pyjamas, and once again, a big thank you to them for letting us be on their channel and for hosting the Timeless Overwatch broadcast project, of which we are very, very thankful to be a part of. And I'm so glad that we have this, Ray, because otherwise we would not have seen this game. We would not have seen the insanity of what just went down here, and Pirates in Pyjamas almost falling to Strix, who, by the way, just a little bit earlier tonight got 3-0'd by 0-3 Splash. And so this is just going to make next week even more insane when Pirates in Pyjamas goes up against 0-3 Splash.
And I just took a look at the main broadcast. Wisp 3-0'd 0-3 Splash. So that puts a wrinkle in things. I don't know if we're able to pull up how these second round games are going today just before we close things out, but it is getting very interesting as we head in to the final week of the Contenders Summer Series, and I'm excited to see how this is all going to turn out.
I think we're all very excited to see how it's going to turn out. Maybe we'll be able to pull up that the round evening of how things have been going for this evening in round 8. But if not, you know, there we go. There we got
hey, nice.
Our producers are insane. Round 8 matches, you can see it right here. Good Boys still 2-0 against the Saints worldwide, losing 0-3 against Rift. Obviously, we just talked about what happened with Wisp and 0-3 Splash. That's a 3-0 there. Afterlife 3-0ing Timeless. Of course, our Strix Pirates in Pyjamas game, where it was a 3-2 banger of a series. And we still have the Amplify Dragon Dance game going on, looking at 2-1 for the moment.
And yeah, with those updates, Pirates should be ending the weekend in first place because of their map differential, especially if Saints end up losing. And they were losing to Good Boys as it sits. They were down 2-0. So, wow, what a weekend. Pirates in Pyjamas come out of this weekend on top, feeling incredibly good. And I'm just excited. That game against 0-3 Splash next week is going to be huge.
I think we're all very excited to see how that game is going to go. A lot of nail biters that were happening tonight, Ray, that I don't think we were really expecting, but Strix really came out in force, and so we do want to give a big congratulations to them. That was an amazing game, gave us an amazing 5-map series against Pirates in Pyjamas, who we thought that was going to be kind of an easy game for them, but no, it turned out to be one heck of a slobber knocker, I guess is the way that we can call that. But I think that is going to be it for us here on the Timeless Broadcast Project. once again, another big thank you to Pirates and Pajamas for letting us be on their channel and for letting us to be able to broadcast these games on their channel. We are very, very appreciative of that. And of course, a big thank you to our producer in the backline, Pluto, our amazing observers, and that is going to be Joey's Throwing and the Tracy. So big thank you to them for the amazing amount of work that they do. Ray, any final thoughts before we close out for the night?
Again, I'm just excited as we round the final corner of the last week of the summer series before we hit playoffs. A lot of these teams are a lot of key matchups going into the final week could decide so much for NA. So I'm excited for that. But outside of that, thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. Pirates and Pajamas leave the weekend #1 in the NA contenders. I've been to Try Hard Ray, joined by Sam Talks, and we will see you guys hopefully next week. So later.